Hello, Elijah's friends.
I'm here with my roommate so we could talk about how our outreach went this past week.
It was wonderful.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I am Anderson Gale. I hail from the country of USA.
So just this past week, from the 12th to the 19th, we went on a small outreach to Frankfurt, Germany.
There were 12 people on our team to begin with, but we had another leader join us, so by Monday we had 13 people on our team.
During the week, we did a lot of things. On Sunday, we did a prayer walk through downtown Frankfurt, just praying for the different areas of the city.
On Monday, we taught a religious class in schools.
Tuesday, we went out and we did our first actual street outreach right there in the heart of Frankfurt.
On Wednesday, we went and we taught the Frankfurt church that we were staying at how to do a street outreach.
Then on Thursday, we went to an after-school program called The Ark, which is really awesome, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then later that evening, Anderson and I and another student had the opportunity to go into the red light district of Frankfurt and minister to the people that are there, and you'll hear about that in a minute too.
And on Friday, we did a big street outreach with the Frankfurt church. It was big. Okay, on Sunday, as we've previously mentioned, we went on a prayer walk through the city of Frankfurt. And yeah, we just did a lot of praying and walking around and viewing the city and getting kind of a feel for what the city is like.
On Monday, we went into some public schools and we taught religion class. I'm not sure what he taught, but I taught about prayer and then also about the character of God. And I was teaching in, I think, grade 2 and grade 3 with students that couldn't speak any English at all, so it's very interesting. They try and talk to me and they wouldn't be able to speak very clear English, but they thought for sure that I could understand them. You taught junior hires, right?
Yeah, I taught grades 6 and 7, and we talked about Jesus in the arts, and we had little pictures, and all the students looked at the pictures and sat down next to the one that they most experienced Jesus in, and we kind of talked about how they saw Jesus in the picture, if it was an authority figure, if it was a lover, if it was a sacrifice. And then at the end we all shared, and it was really nice because we were able to give our testimony, the 3 students I was with, and we were all able to give our testimonies to the class, which was really unexpected but very cool.
Yeah, and then on Tuesday we did our first outreach, like I said before. We went into kind of this main shopping center area and we just set up in this courtyard with a little stage and some speakers and a table with some cookies and some warm punch stuff. It was more like apple cider, but anyway. We just kind of chilled there for maybe 2-3 hours and talked with the people, did some performances. One of the students did a live painting, which I actually posted a video about just a few days ago, and you can go see that in my recent videos. Mostly we just drew crowds in so that we could go and talk to each individual person and just kind of have a conversation with them and see if we could have an opportunity to share our testimony or ask them about their beliefs in God and religion and etc. What did you experience during the outreach?
That was a huge step, I think, in my life, because I was able to actually get out there, and I had to develop the boldness. God gave me the boldness to actually talk to people about my faith, which is something that I kind of do if people ask me, but I don't just walk up to people and talk about it. So that was a huge faith builder in myself.
So after that was over, we had all those experiences. The next day we had to use all those experiences to train the church for when they were going to do their outreach. So Wednesday we got together, Wednesday afternoon we planned a whole 2-hour block of different training things for outreach. And then that evening a bunch of the church came and we taught them what we basically had just learned the day before. And it was really interesting because they never would believe us if we told them that it was our first one, according to one of the staff at the base in Frankfurt.
On Thursday we went to the Ark, which is a after-school program for children in kind of a depraved neighborhood. A lot of them are, I don't know if they're refugees, but a lot of them are foreign people from a lot of the Muslim nations. And so there's a bunch of kids that come after school and they just hang out in this area, and it's an after-school program, and they try and have things to do, show godly example of just kind of living. They show God through their actions, and we got to go there and we made up little teams of 2 and we got to decide what we wanted to do with the kids. Some people did arts, some people helped with homework. Elijah and I, we played soccer and played sports with the kids, which was fun. Yeah, it was fun. And it was great because normally it'd be very frustrating if you can't speak the language of the children you're trying to play with or trying to have an activity with, but it actually was a very good time. It exceeded my expectations, and it was wonderful to be able to play with kids.
Later that evening, as we mentioned before, we had the opportunity to go into the red light district. And if you don't know what the red light district is, it's basically the largest adult entertainment industry in Frankfurt, and it's right on the edge of the banking strip. Right within that area, the city has placed 2
clean needle distribution centers where they give them clean needles so that they don't pass needles around and spread diseases around all the places. So the drug addicts get clean needles there.
Additionally, within these buildings, the drug addicts are actually allowed to do drugs within the buildings legally. It's the city's way of containing the problem, only it's not really containing it, it's just kind of centering it in one area. So what we did was we went with a small team and we filled a shopping cart full of sandwiches and coffee and some snacks, and we just went into that area. We basically stayed there for 3.5 hours and ministered to the people in very practical ways, just giving the homeless and the drug addicts food to eat and warm drinks and someone to talk to, someone that can really listen to them, and the experience is just indescribable.
One of the big things that struck me is a lot of people think that drug addicts are mean, that they're selfish, that they'll attack you for money, and that they'll just steal everything you have so they can get more money for drugs. But from my experience with these drug addicts, at least, they were very nice. They were very thankful for what we gave them. After we poured them a drink, they'd be like, "Danke, danke, danke," which means thank you, thank you, thank you, and we'd respond, "You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome." And they were just very thankful for everything that we gave them. One of the ladies told me a story from one week. She was out there. A couple guys came up next to her and said, "Oh, we'll protect you just in case anybody tries to attack you." And so they're normal people. They just do drugs. It's not like they're just like this different species of human being that everybody's afraid of. They're just people.
They're people that need help just like the rest of us. Really, what I saw that evening was that anyone can help. I mean, it's as simple as bringing some sandwiches to them and saying God loves you, and you might not lead them to Jesus right that minute or that night, but you're putting a little bit more brightness into their life, and I really firmly believe that through doing that kind of thing you can show God's love to people, and you can really be a puzzle piece in the bigger picture of their life. Or as my youth pastor likes to say, you can be one domino in the line of series of events that leads them to Christ.
And it's great because the team goes there every Thursday. So they're out there every Thursday giving them food, giving them drinks, and building relationships with them. So the leader, he was an amazingly godly man. He went out there and he was taking drug addicts under his arm and praying for them and talking to them, having conversations with them, just building relationships with them. I mean, the biggest thing I think that impacts the drug addicts there is just that somebody's actually willing to have a relationship with them, and that someone sees them as not a creature, but as a person to be loved.
After we did that, it really felt like the next street outreach wasn't going to be as intense or as moving as fulfilling as the experience that we had that evening. Friday was our last full day in Frankfurt, and we got to do the big street outreach that was both of the YWAM teams from Switzerland and Frankfurt together with the church there. I'm pretty sure we had probably close to 50 people at least just doing street outreach in that same area, the shopping area where we were. We basically did the same thing that we did on Tuesday, except bigger. We had more tables, we had more performances, more food. This time we actually brought cake instead of just cookies, so a bunch of the church members had made homemade cakes, and we just lined a bunch of tables with cakes and gave them out to the people. Again, just practical ways of reaching out to people and being able to engage them in conversation. Not super intense and something that really I think anyone can do. How was your experience for that street outreach?
It was great because after the red light district, I really had a bigger desire than I even had before for reaching drunk people, drug addicts, and homeless people. So on that outreach, I made especially clear a decision to go to the people that were drunk, to go to the people that looked like they were homeless, and the people that looked crazy. And so I got to talk to a lot of drunk people, and I got to talk to a lot of homeless. And the best experience was the last man I talked to. He was an awesome guy. His name was Rainer. And we started talking to Rainer, and we ended up talking about Jesus, and it turned out he's a believer in Christ, which was really cool that you could meet someone just in the street that was like that. And he was just a very kind man and gentle spirit. It was very encouraging to see him, and kind of gave me a new jolt of life, and it was very good.
During that outreach, we actually had the opportunity, as some of the students, we did the Everything skit, and if you're not familiar with it, it was originally performed by Lifehouse. And it's a skit that depicts the beginning of life with God creating man, and then the fall with different sins separating us from God, and then finally those sins almost taking over our lives, but then Jesus comes in and rescues us. And I'll make sure to put the link to the video of that skit in the description of this video so you can watch it. I'd encourage you to watch it. It's a really powerful skit. If
The link is here.
Yeah, right here.
I've always wanted to do that in a video. So what was your favorite part of the week? What was the most encouraging part?
I think my most encouraging experience was kind of a series of experiences, really. It started on Tuesday, right before we went to our first outreach. God told me to bring my gloves, my extra pair of gloves, because I'm going to be apparently giving them to somebody. But He didn't tell me who. So I brought them to the outreach, and during the outreach I did give them to someone, but it actually was just one of the other people on our team. And so after the outreach was done, I got them back, and I was like, okay, God, well, I mean, I gave them to someone, but I don't think that's quite what you had in mind. So what do you want me to do? And he's just like, just be patient. I was like, okay. So Thursday, when we went to the red light district, I brought them with me again. I was like, oh, maybe someone tonight. And I you know, went through the whole week. And I went through the whole evening with those gloves, and halfway through I did give them to someone, but again it was someone on our team, and I ended up getting them back. So I was like, really, God, why? Like, who am I supposed to give these to? And he was just like, be patient, Elijah, come on, you gotta see what I have in store. I was like, okay. So Friday, our last day, our last outreach, and I'm like, okay, God, you know, you want to, like, show me now? Because, like, we're almost out of time here. It's like, just be patient, Elijah. And really, I had to be patient, because it wasn't until the very end of the outreach, more or less the last person that we were talking to, he was the one that I had to give the gloves to. It was the homeless man that Anderson was talking to. So I went and asked him, I was like, hey, do you have any gloves? And at first he didn't know what I was talking about, because he kind of spoke broken English. And I was like, gloves, do you have any gloves? And he was like, oh, no, I don't. I was like, would you like some? And he was like, yes, of course. And this was, I told him, just wait here a minute. And I ran to my backpack and I grabbed them and I brought them and I gave them to him. And I said, here, these are a gift to you from God. And he was just so overjoyed. He's like, thank you so much. And he put them on his hands and they fit perfectly. I was like, wow, God, you totally planned that, because I don't know how I could have made that happen any other way. And it was just amazing to see how God really had a plan, and I just needed to be patient and listen to Him and to know, okay, this is the guy. And I really hope that this story encourages you to see that being patient can bring great rewards. So whatever it is that God is telling you to do, or wherever it is that God is telling you to go, be patient. Because even if you don't see the fruit right away, you will definitely see it in the end. And you'll be very glad that you were patient and that you waited on Him. God is faithful. He's not going to leave you hanging. Anderson, what was your overall experience for the whole week?
The experience that I had was very rejuvenating. Through the weeks of school, I've gotten very bored because I'm kind of a doer and I like to go help people. The school has been a lot of learning and waiting and patience, and it was very nice to actually be able to go out and do things. And it was very nice as well being able to have the opportunity to be part of God's plan, be part of someone's puzzle. It was wonderful to have God use me in a way that I really wouldn't be able to put together myself. And I am just extremely thankful for the opportunity that I had and the honor that it was to actually be able to go out there and serve God.
Yeah, and I think I can pretty much say the same thing. It's really hard to grasp in words like what a whole week of outreach really does to you, but I think it's good that way, because it's something that you just hold inside of you and you keep for the rest of your life, something that shapes you and moves you, and something that really builds a foundation for your future. And even though we can't tell you everything we felt and everything that we did, we can tell you how it really has significantly impacted both of our lives. I mean, the things that we've seen, the things that we've done, most of them we will be the only ones to know about those things. But I hope that the small amount of stories that we shared with you can really inspire you and show you that even in one small week's amount of time, you can do a lot of amazing things. And when you're just waiting on God and you're pursuing Him, He will do awesome things through you. It doesn't have to be on the other side of the world or in an area of a city full of drug addicts in the middle of the night, or some crazy thing. It can be at your school or in your home or at your church. You can be a light to anyone, anywhere. It just depends on where your heart is. And I think that that is a huge thing for both of us this week, is that it's pushed our hearts into the right direction, in the right place. And I'm really glad that we had the experience this week. If you have any questions about the week or any of the stories that we told, I hope you enjoyed our stories and what we had to say about the experience. If you have a question for Anderson or I, you can just post it in the comments below, or send me a message or something. It doesn't really matter. And we'll try and get back to you.